Hey, today's the first day of Chol Hamoed Sukkos. We're actually in the year 5785, right? 5784. What? We're in a new 5784. We're in a new year. Okay, we're in a new year. So we saw an unbelievable Kiddush yesterday in regards to the din of the Simcha of the first night of Yom Tov, and in regards to Kiddush Levana. It comes out like this. The Gemara learns that there's the din of Simchas Yom Tov. The temperature here in the Sukkah, officially room temperature is 59 to 86 degrees. The entire Yom Tov, it has been in between 59 and 86 degrees. So Hashem has blessed us with an unbelievable Sukkah so far, including amazing, especially sleeping conditions. There's been no rain whatsoever, and the thermometer in this Sukkah never got lower than 61 from what I saw. So, which is about 16 degrees Celsius. So, and the thermometer never got higher than 84, which is about 29 degrees Celsius. So 15. It did? It got to 86. It got to 86, so it made it to 30 degrees Celsius. Oh, that's right. It got to 86. Okay, for a short period of time. All right, now, so it goes like this. In Chicago, we had in terms of Kiddush Levana, we had a very difficult situation that happened this past week. And 87. No, it's 77 outside. Motzei Yom Kippur. I wanted to say two words actually. Number one, Motzei Yom Kippur. So what a lot of times happens, we're supposed to say Kiddush Levana, actually not a lot of times, we're supposed to say Kiddush Levana right after Yom Kippur, because we say Kiddush Levana. Kiddush Levana is a time of Simcha, which we're going to see how intense Simcha that is. There's a lot of Chidushim that comes out of this. Number one, Kiddush Levana, it's not just we get dressed up in Shabbos clothing, or we're supposed to say it when we're dressed up in Shabbos clothing. There's an actual din, apparently, of being besimcha during Kiddush Levana, so much so that you're not allowed to say Kiddush Levana at a time when there's another simcha taking place. Because of a concept called Ein Ma'arvin Simcha Besimcha, we do not mix two simchas. This is why we do not get married during Chol Hamoed, because there's Simcha of the Yom Tov, of the holiday, and then there's the Simcha of the Chasana. So, Kiddush Levana also, you would not be allowed to say during the holiday of Sukkot. Now, another reason why you can't say Kiddush Levana during Sukkot is because it's just past the time of Kiddush Levana. But there's one exception, and that's the first night of Yom Tov, which we're going to see that according to some opinions, the Simcha of the first night of Yom Tov is only rabbinic. And if it's only rabbinic, so then you would be allowed to say Kiddush Levana that night, according to those Mekel Shittas that allow you to say Kiddush Levana that late, such as the Aruch HaShulchan. The Aruch HaShulchan lived in a very cloudy climate, and he's known as being more Mekel in regards to Kiddush Levana. He's more lenient because it's because you're allowed to be lenient, but he put a focus on that, probably because he lived in a cloudy area. So, we have, in regards to Kiddush Levana, there's a din of Simcha Mamish, to the point that, in theory, if we were to have a Yom Tov that took place in the first 15 days of the month, we would not be allowed to say Kiddush Levana while there's another Simcha taking place. Okay, now we go to Motzei Yom Kippur. Motzei Yom Kippur, the minhag is we say Kiddush Levana right away, which means people are very, very hungry. And a lot of times, being human, people are hoping that it's cloudy. That's what happens. People want to get home, they want to get eat. But there are certain shuls that solve this problem by giving out food right before Kiddush Levana. So one of the shuls here in Chicago, I can list two shuls that does this. Kal Chasidim is one of them, or Menorah is another one. But a lot of shuls don't do this. So here's what happened. So, or Menorah, we came out, and it was cloudy, there was no moon. So we didn't say Kiddush Levana. Now, we wanted to say Kiddush Levana because we just ate, and you're supposed to say Kiddush Levana right after Yom Kippur. Sharet Tzedek, they did say Kiddush Levana. So when Sharet Tzedek finished, that means the moon was out, shining brightly. So I wanted to say pshat in this. Why would a Kodesh Baruch Hu make it that the shul that wants to say Kiddush Levana for sure, they don't say Kiddush Levana, and the shul where people, I'm sure there are plenty of people that want to, people are tzaddikim, but people are very hungry, they did not get to say Kiddush Levana. So there could be two pshatim in this. One of them is that Kol Yisrael Harevim Zalazeh, and all of Klal Yisrael is like one body. So what happens is like this: HaKadosh Baruch Hu needs a cheshek, a desire to say Kiddush Levana, and then he needs also people to be saying Kiddush Levana. So what happens is, it's like they say these stories when a person cried and davened for a child or a shidduch, and then someone else got a shidduch, and they say, "Don't worry, your tefillos didn't go to waste. The tefillos meant for the other person." Okay, and maybe it doesn't make the person feel too good, but we say that Hashem takes the tefillos and He does what He wants to do with them. So Hashem took the cheshek, perhaps, of the people that really wanted to say Kiddush Levana, but weren't able to. So they get credit for saying Kiddush Levana, even though they didn't say it, because if you really want to do a mitzvah, and then an ones happens, and you're not able to do the mitzvah, Hashem considers it as if you did the mitzvah in a certain way. At least you get, okay? And then the other people, maybe they were lacking cheshek, so they were lacking the desire, but they actually said it. So Hashem took the cheshek, the desire, the people that wanted to say Kiddush Levana but never actually got to do it, and handed it over to the people that didn't have the desire and made it into a complete mitzvah. Okay, but who knows? Nobody really knows that that's what happened or not, but that's just one shot. Okay, but more importantly, it's like this. So, first night of Sukkot, there are shittas that hold that the mitzvah of Simcha, the chiyuv of Simcha, is only rabbinic. Why? Because the mitzvah of Simchas Yontif on Sukkot is dependent upon the carbon of the Shalmei Simcha, says the Mishnah in Masechta Sukkah. It's around Daf Mem Vav, Mem Zayin, somewhere around there. So the Shalmei Simcha was only brought during the day. So it's brought the first day of Sukkot. So the din of Simcha starts the daytime of Sukkot, and continues for the rest of Sukkot. What about Shmini Atzeres? So Shmini Atzeres, we don't bring a carbon Shalmei Simcha, but there's another pasuk, V'ayisa ach sameach, is that the ach V'samachta b'chogecha, that's one pasuk, and then it says V'ayisa ach sameach. So it says it twice. So V'samachta b'chogecha, that's going on Sukkot. The V'ayisa ach sameach, the Gemara says that's going on Shmini Atzeres. Then the Gemara says, well, how do you know it's going on Shmini Atzeres? Maybe it's coming to include the first night of Sukkot, and it's not going on Shmini Atzeres. Also, the word ach, why is the word ach? It should just say V'ayisa sameach. The word ach is always coming to exclude something. But without going into the Gemara, the bottom line is like this. There is a machlokas haposkim, whether the chiyuv of the obligation of Simchas Yontif on the first night of Sukkot is rabbinic or biblical. And the nafkamina, the practical difference is in regards to Kiddush Levana. So this past year, as we said, many of the nights were cloudy, and people were not able to say Kiddush Levana, except if you happened to get it during the times that it wasn't cloudy, or you got it during the first night of Sukkot. So since it's rabbinic, therefore, we were able to say Kiddush Levana. And that was the main thing. If you look in the back of one of the Masifta Gemaras, you'll see much bigger chidushim in regards to one of the Gedolim who wouldn't sing Zmiros the first night of Sukkot. And you would have to see pshat in that, why there were no Zmiros. But in all other regards, the mitzvahs, the first night of Sukkot, we always know that as being the most chamor dika of all the nights. That's the only time there's mamish a chiyuv to make Kiddush. It's the first night of Sukkot. So, in regards to eating in the Sukkah, it's the most chamor the first night. In regards to Simcha, it's a machlokes whether it's D'Rabbanan or D'Oraisa. Perhaps it was set up that way because HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted us to say Kiddush Levana, and the big Kiddush here is that Kiddush Levana has such a Simcha to it that it's ein ma'arvin Simcha b'Simcha. Alright, so the story goes like this. And there's two things you can learn from this story. This is the story. Okay, it's the first night of Sukkot, and let's say a person missed minyan. So we spoke before that even if a person misses minyan, there's an inyan to daven in shul, no matter what. And in fact, we learned according to one of the Gedolim. There's very intense consequences to people that do not daven in the shul, because davening is like bringing a carbon, and the carbonos could only be brought in the Beis Hamikdash. We later explained that it's possible if you have a makom kavua, a set-aside place in your house, you would be able to daven there, and that better be correct, because otherwise we would be in very big trouble. So, but nonetheless, a person's supposed to go to shul regardless of whether they made minyan or didn't make minyan. Okay, so we have the first night of Sukkot. A couple people went to shul and davened, and then on the way back, they ran into two people that were just constantly looking at the moon with a telescope, right? And it was quite a scene. It was like very clear that there was something unusual going on over there. So it was very attention grabbing, and it drew people's attention to the moon. People would ask, what was the question asked? Like, why are they looking at the moon? Initially it looked like maybe they were taking pictures. So the question is, why are they taking pictures of the moon? What's so special about the moon? And no one even realized that the moon was there. So, and we saw them, whoever it is.
We thought they were taking pictures of us.
So some people thought they were taking pictures of them. So then we saw they were looking at the moon. And then after, when you're thinking about the moon for a while, and then you realize you didn't say Kiddush Levana, which was a common issue here in Chicago this past year. So then you remember to say Kiddush Levana. So what you see from the story is that if you when things happen to you, you should take a minute and just think about, could it be there's a reason? Could Hashem be sending you some type of message? So something happened with the moon. I mean, a lot of times you might be walking down, someone has a telescope looking at the stars, and you could think for a minute, and you'll just say, no, there's nothing. The only thing Hashem's telling me is that the stars are beautiful, and maybe I should go look at the stars. Okay, but think about it for a minute. You see, they're looking at the moon, and sometimes a person might think, I'm not such a big tzaddik that Hashem really cares about my mitzvah or something like that. But don't think like that. Just pretend like you are a big tzaddik and that Hashem does care about your mitzvah, because really Hashem does care about everybody's mitzvah. And even... everyone's also a big tzaddik. So you think about it for a minute, and then you look at the moon, you think about Kiddush Levana, and this whole thing, maybe perhaps, it wouldn't have happened had shul not been gone to. Well, you never know, but so you see the mila of going to the shul and all that. Did that include everything? Okay, so good to Moed, and have a wonderful Yom.